Talk with Lorèal and Lakeba. Last week we talked about the power of the tongue. Let me know what you guys think about that. If you have any feedback, I want to hear from you guys. We want to engage with you guys as much as possible. Well, not as much as possible, but within reason. This week we're going to be talking about being intentional. So if you guys have any thoughts about that or questions or anything, I think I also want to do like a thing where if they can ask questions and we can like take the first 5 minutes of each one to talk about the previous one. Mm-hmm. So please reach out. Remember to share, comment, share this with people you know if you're enjoying it. We want this to be appetizing to people. And so with that being said, Key wanted us to talk about being intentional today. So what had this on your heart to want to talk about this?
So a colleague of mine, she reached out to me, and she kind of been reaching out to me, wanting to get more acquainted with one another. And so I gave her my number, and I don't know if I told you before, I've been praying about just building community with like-minded people since I've been on my relationship with God. And also with me just coming out of my comfort zone and actually engaging more with people as well, and not just being like a turtle in my shell and whatnot. And so when she first reached out to me, I was kind of like, what are you trying to, what is this? And then I'm like, well, Kiba, maybe that's God, saying, no, you asked for this, and so now I'm,
giving you what you asked for.
Exactly. And so I'm like, don't run away from it, don't shy away from it, engage. And so I gave her my number. We ended up talking on the phone a couple of nights, and she was asking me a lot of questions. She was gauging, which I appreciate. She was gauging what I wanted in my life, and especially when it comes to connecting with God and my relationship.
And probably challenged you to think about things you haven't thought about yet.
It was, and so that's why I'm like, okay, I like actually talking to you. So it kind of got I would say, we talked for a while, and it kind of got a little deep. And she had mentioned she's just working on being intentional and whatnot. And she's like, what is that? And so in so many words, I was telling her, well, I'm doing the same. For the future, I'm just really focusing on being intentional. I want to use a different word because she's the one who brought that to my attention, the word intentional. But I just want to really.
It's crazy because ever since you said that, I've been seeing it everywhere, the word intentional specifically.
Yes.
And I think that's definitely the word and the thing right now to do.
Yes. And so I'm just really trying to, everything that I'm involved in and aspire for myself, I just want to be in it wholeheartedly, and so being intentional is a perfect way to describe that. And so she asked me what that looked like for me and whatnot, and so I thought about it, and I'm like, OMG, I think this would be a really good podcast topic, and so when I think about it, being intentional, and after talking to her and then just reflecting on my day-to-day life. It's August, you guys, and
this
so
year flew by so fast.
It did. And so my thing for this month is being intentional. So last month was a lot going on. July was a big transition. I ended up losing my dog, guys, and so that was it was different, because for a while I kind of just with caring for her, I kind of just kind of forgot about myself. And
it's so easy to do that when you have so much going on.
Yes, and so I kind of forgot about myself, and so reflecting after I lost her, reflecting on everything, I'm in one of the Bible study group I'm in, Discover Women, they do, some of the girl ladies send a text every day, and one of the ladies was saying that 8 resembles the month, or 8 resembles new beginnings, and August is the month of new beginnings. And then she was saying how 7 resembles completion. And she was saying, so reflect on what you completed over the July, and even if it was something very small and whatnot. And so and then what new things are the Lord is God pretty much opening up for August. And so I'm just okay, I lost my dog, and if everything happened, I kind of got off track in July, I would say. So let's be intentional with the rest of the year. Let's be intentional with August. And so I wrote out my calendar and my planner for the week and the month, and with everything that I have going on. And so I said my theme, I wrote it on top of my calendar, is to be intentional with everything that I'm doing. So whatever I am involved in, I'm going to be intentional. But even down to like the small thing, like being in the moment. You know, I feel like, you know, sometimes our minds are so, like, we can be so scatterbrained, and we can be so, like, there can be so many things going on that we don't really focus on what's going on. So, like, even brushing your teeth, when I'm brushing my teeth, literally, like, focus on just brushing my teeth. My brain
living in the moment.
Yes, like, in a way, I feel like that's a way to, like, worship, but in a way, it's also a way to worship God, because you're really just, for me, you know, I'm just taking time out to, I'm grateful and I'm thankful to that I have all my teeth, that I was able to be blessed to get aligners, you know, this is just me, but that I have the means to do that, and so being intentional in the moment and just being thankful for that, and so that's kind of what I like, feel like, you know, we could talk about, you know.
Absolutely.
And I think with being intentional, like I said, it just makes you also think about, it just makes you more grateful, and it could, at least, you know, depending on your perspective, but I feel like really make you hone in on what you have, and how much you are blessed when you are being intentional.
Because you miss so much when you are focused on the past, and first off, the past does not exist anymore.
Exactly.
It's gone. You can't take it back. You can't change it. All you're doing is stressing yourself out about the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and it's not going to change. So accepting what that was, the future is not here yet. We can't change the future because we don't know the future. So the only thing we can do is focus on now, what's happening right now, and you know, people aren't familiar with the word intentional, being consistent. You know, and this is something I've struggled with tremendously throughout my life. I know that I lack discipline. I am impulsive sometimes, and I like to be spontaneous. It's part of my personality, and I'm aware of that now, so I'm working on it. But I too am trying to be living in the moment. My therapist even told me, just when you're driving in the car, that's not really, my mind gets to go, just focus on nature, looking out the windows, noticing what you're seeing in front of you. And it's funny you said that it's a time to worship, because I notice I catch myself when I am trying to live in the moment of appreciating everything that's happening around me, and I'm like, thank you for the nature and the trees and the beautiful this and that, like, and it might seem mediocre, or, you know, but it actually makes me feel better when I'm actually enjoying and living presently in the moment, because you miss so much when you're allowing all those thoughts to control your everyday.
I totally definitely agree, and I think it also allows you to give yourself grace too, because sometimes we just get in, like you said, in a mode of just being scatterbrained and thinking about so many different things, or even just beating yourself up, and focusing on like you said, the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. But I feel like when you do stop and be in the moment, you think about you know, that whatever is going on in that moment, and you do give yourself grace. Like, at least for me, like when I am like, okay, let me give myself grace, and let me actually love on myself in this moment, or love on whatever it is that I'm focusing on. I just really feel like it most definitely gives a greater appreciation for a lot of stuff. It's like, even when I am driving in the car too, I'm really working on not using my phone at all when I'm in the car, unless it's like an emergency or like I really need to, but like, just being more aware of your surroundings and everything. And I think like with that, it just also makes you more, it helps with being more discerning on what the Lord wants for you to grasp at any time, you know. I feel like when we're so distracted, we can
distraction. And that's what keeps us from being intentional.
Exactly.
Is distraction.
And so I'm also like, I know my phone can be a big distraction. Social media and everything can be a distraction sometimes. So like now I don't even pick my phone up. Like, I just go get my morning routine out of the way. The first thing I do and have been doing is getting on my phone, getting into the word, and then starting the rest of my day from there. Because like you said, the distractions most definitely get you off track, and they don't help. They really don't. They don't help.
Sorry guys, I'm dealing with severe allergies right now, which I know a lot of people can relate to. So Excuse me if I have to sneeze or use some tissue. But yeah, to piggyback to what you were saying, I feel like I've noticed that you've been telling me lately when I'm asking you what you're doing, you're like you already have your day planned and set, and I feel like that's what helps with being consistent is making the plan. Because if you don't run your day's gonna run you. So prior planning and having that calendar, and which I suck at. I'm getting a lot better with writing my notes down. So something I've been doing since I just had the baby is doing keto. So in order to be intentional about that, I'm meal prepping. I meal prep on Sunday, so I have my food done for the week. So in the morning, because I have to get up at 5:30 in the morning, I grab my food and go, and it's already ready for me. That's helping me. So if you want to do something, don't just say I want to do it. You have to have, okay, what is my plan to make sure that I am doing this and I'm going to stick to this, because sometimes we put expectations on ourselves, but we're not doing anything to help us reach those expectations. And then you get frustrated and then you're mad. But what could you have done to make this smoother? So what I have learned, even from going to like meetings and stuff with people who are making six figures and millions of dollars, they said you start at the finish line. What goal do you want? And then you go backwards from there on the steps of how to get there. And I think a lot of the time we forget to do that. We know what we want, but how do we get there? How do we do that? So what do you feel like are ways that you've noticed help you to be intentional?
I would sure say, I mean, like you said, having the end goal in mind, and then making that plan. But with that, one thing that I always tell myself is like, I don't know, I feel like grace is just big. I personally just give myself grace, because sometimes your plans don't go as specifically as you wanted them to or how you saw out for them to. And so even just giving myself grace, okay, this didn't happen specifically as I planned it this day, but I still have the next day to do so. So that, but my intentions are still the same. Like, so I still have that set mind. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like me just giving myself grace has helped me with still being intentional and just not beating myself up and like giving up altogether.
And that's what I do, because I will have a plan, and then when I mess up, I feel like everything's just ruined now, and I just go back into old habits instead of saying, okay, I failed today, which not even necessarily fail. I messed up today, but tomorrow's a new day, a new beginning. Every day is a new beginning, honestly. So if you think about it like that, I think that helps too. So even like the other day, I had a brownie, because I work with kids, and I made brownies at work, and I sure didn't have one. It was delicious, and I felt bad. And I did all my other stuff was good, and I was just like, it's okay, I messed up today. I don't even have to say screw this whole thing that I'm trying to do right now. You can just pick back up tomorrow and don't continue to fall back into habits. Well, you know, like you don't, like you're mad at yourself, you beat yourself up, you're taking yourself into negative feelings and things when you can fix it, you can change it. It's not that big of a deal. It's just having that intent in heart and just doing things, like wanting to do better. That's
and it's trial and error. I feel like a lot of things are trial and error. So you'll do something and you'll find out that doesn't work for you. Like even with my workout journey, you know, I was like learning a lot, you know, consuming a lot from social media and the people around me and stuff. And then like you have to find what works for you and also what's realistic for your lifestyle. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good one. What's realistic for your lifestyle and then within your means, because you can't expect yourself to do something that you just can't do. Like that's just putting unrealistic expectations on yourself.
Exactly, or stuff that you see everybody else doing. Yeah. So being most definitely being realistic and finding what works for you. It may not be that, and you may just need to tweak it a little bit. But you will not know unless you have that.
Right. I noticed like with keto specific, like, you know, I am breastfeeding. So I had to study all of that. I have to intake a little more carb than I'm supposed, because I'm also eating for two. So you have to, you know, realize what works for you. And then also, you know, if you have health conditions, physical conditions, mental health, that falls into all these things as well. You know, that makes a difference too. And it's not an excuse, because some people really do have things that they're going on, but you have to just find what works for you. That doesn't mean you can't do anything.
Right.
Just find out what you can do for you and stop comparing. That's why it's so important to focus on ourselves and not others.
Yes, and I feel like when you to slow down, like just slowing down and like being in the moment helps you focus on yourself.
And we do not do that at all.
Yeah. No, we really don't.
And it's funny, like even taking breaths, you know, I do that with my daughter when she get worked up, or just myself. Like I see why it used to sound so like take 3 deep breaths, but when I do that now, I'm like, I needed that, and it just grounds you. It just brings you back here. And I actually read this thing before that's why people smoke. Even I've come into encounter with people who smoke cigarettes who don't even like cigarettes, but that's, you know, when you're doing that, you're
practicing the breath.
And that's what's helping them.
That breath work is important. Just don't do it with the nicotine.
Yeah. So it's just it's a thing. So I feel like what are ways that you feel like being intentional has changed your life? Like,
I would most definitely say just being a lot more, like we were talking about, appreciative and being grateful. It's made me a lot more appreciative and grateful. It's made me a lot more peaceful and at ease. Like I don't criticize myself too much. I don't beat myself up too much, you know, because at the end of the day, I know I have like an end goal in mind for whatever that may be. And like you said, we are the creators, and so it is up to me, and I know I have the ability to do so. So it's, I don't know, it's just giving me a whole different perspective on everything that I, you know, approach.
Do you notice that you're like, maybe, I don't know if being late is like this, but like you notice you're more on time for things, or you're not like here, like, you know, all over the place. It's just more stability and things.
And I would for sure say that it's most definitely I'm more on time for things, because I used to be late a lot. And then also just I won't even say stability, but what I am involved in, like I don't know how to describe it, but I'm like there in that moment, you know what I'm saying? Because
you're being into it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm intentional with what I am involved in. But it's also things that have driven me too. Like, so I feel like I'm not doing it just because of a person, or like it's something that is in my spirit that I feel that I want to do. So I feel like just slowing down as well and being intentional with what my wants, my desires, what my spirit draws me to. I'm not doing things that I'm not gonna regret. I'm not doing things that
that's why it's so important to take that moment to think about things before you do it.
Because I will most definitely say I'm still working on it, but it can be a people pleaser, you know. And so like I do a lot of things to please others, and not really think about myself. And then when I get into it, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this.
That's funny you brought up people pleaser, because I'm not sure if everybody knows, but there's 16 personality types in the world. This man did a whole study on this, and it's interesting that we have one way that the world, they expect us to live, when even in school they teach one way, but they want everybody to be different and be unique in their own self, but then you only provide us with one way of things. And there's 16 personality types in the world, and you can take the test with you could do some ones online, but like to get your true results and everything, you go through it with someone who has licensed themselves into this. So I found out that I'm an ESTP, and that's literally that personality type is the people pleaser. And I mean, anybody who knows, like, that's literally what I've struggled with, and I've been mad at myself for all these times. Like, they have the organizer, they have the philosopher, they have all these different ones, and I've always wished I was more organized or more like this, or, you know, comparing myself to other people. And it's like, this is just who I am, and for whatever reason I was created this way, and understanding who I am, and so now I'm more aware of it, doesn't mean I can't be on time for things or change certain things, but now I'm aware of it, I know that I have to do things a little different that works for me. Like I said, discipline is a hard thing, or saying that I'm gonna do something and then somebody calling me and feeling like I have to go do this, and I'm like, this. Would you rather
do this, right?
Or even today was my only day off work, and I haven't been feeling the best. My sinuses is all clogged, you know. But I get up in the morning and take my, kid kids take them where they need to go. I could have went back to sleep like I wanted to do. I was like, I'm not feeling today, but you know, I actually had a therapy appointment this morning, and I stayed up and I started my day, and I was intentional about what I was going to do, because I said this is what we're going to do today, in spite of how I feel. And sometimes even when you got to do it even when you don't feel like it, because you will be rewarded for it in the end.
That's another part too. I feel like I've been with being more intentional, I've started to be more disciplined in doing those things that I really don't feel like doing. So it's like most definitely going to be like a mind over matter, not even mind over matter, but action over mind type of thing. Like, you got to put the work in. And I sang this morning, like I was up all night doing King's hair, and this morning I'm just like, oh, I woke up like, oh my gosh, no, you have no excuses. And honestly, it's been like that this week. A couple of times I wanted to like bail out and like, no, because you have a plan. You said you're going to set out to do so, and so even doing it when you don't feel like it. And so like yesterday I did that as well. I just felt groggy, and then when I got up, I'm like, no, Lakeba, let's go. Get up, got up, did everything I needed to do, and
you felt better.
I felt
at the
so
end
much
of it.
better. Yes.
Exactly.
And that I got all the things done that I said I was going to do as well. So yeah.
And I think that's the thing that people have to realize too, is like, you can't just say things, you have to put them into action. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't say that you want to be a millionaire, but you sleep in all your days off that you have away, or you're not spending that time, you know, because we know a lot of us work a 9-to-5 job, but what are you doing outside of that to feed yourself and to reach your goals? Like, and I get it, when you got kids, you got a household, you got a job, and you start to neglect these things, but you have to have that discipline to do it anyways, even when you don't feel like doing it, because growing is not easy. It's like not. Making changes, it's one of the hardest things to do. That's why a lot of people stay stagnant in relationships and within themselves, and then they're miserable and not happy. So it's like, if I can either choose to stay here in this place and be miserable and unhappy, or be uncomfortable while I'm trying to grow and be better for something that is going to be well worth it to me in generations to come. You know,
and that uncomfortable state doesn't last long. You know. Like, just like when you work out, I try to go back to that. When you work out, you're not uncomfortable for long, because after a while you're gonna be sore. And
yeah, your body is amazing. It starts to. We can train it to do whatever we want it to do. You can literally build whatever body you want. Like, we are in control of our bodies.
And it just makes me think, with that, it's the same with our minds. You know, we just have to get over that uncomfortable. Those uncomfortable thoughts that come to mind, and fight those with those positive thoughts, you know, or even just with our plans that we set out, to remember our goals, and it builds discipline. So I feel like I have most definitely been a lot.
Good job.
Been disciplined. Thank you.
I've been doing the better, but I can do better.
And I feel like we all have room to grow, because I can most definitely do better too. But also, like I was saying, I don't beat myself up.
And that's what I do too much of. It's so funny, I give everybody else grace, but I'm a people pleaser, so that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to make them feel good and forget about self. But no, that's not what I was called to do. And I feel like ways to be intentional is, you know, maybe having that planner. I don't do good with paper, so I put everything in my phone, organize it, notes. They have reminders in there. Waking up even 5 minutes early, like I mentioned last time, just to be like, okay, what am I going to do today? What do I want to accomplish? Setting those reminders for appointments. If you want to do so many, or even like breaking things down, like let's say I want to start working out, I want to do 100 squats a day. Okay, break it up. Let's do 25 here, let's do 25 there. Stop trying to think you got to do everything at one time, and just break it up. And
because it takes baby steps. And what was I wanted to add to what you were saying, like, I would also say, start your day off with something that like fuels you and feeds you, you know.
And not your phone. Like, that's the first. I know, like, a lot of us, that's our alarm clock, but I put my phone on Do Not Disturb every night. So when I turn my alarm off there, I don't see anything until I open my phone and go in there. So just choosing not to do that, it makes a difference for sure. And there's so much negativity out there too, so you don't know what you're gonna see. And they say the most important time of your day is the first 5 minutes of the day, and the last 5 minutes before you go to sleep, because what you're thinking about, that dwells into your subconscious. So for however many hours you're sleeping, that's the last thing that you had on your mind. What do you want that to be? the I wish I would have did this today. I'm mad about this, and think about stuff from when you was 2 years old, or like 20. What are we spending that time with? Because that's even a way to be intentional about what you're thinking. Like you can be intentional with everything that you're doing, not just with your day, but with your, like you said, with your mind, with even your kids, your job, your relationship. Is setting a standard. It's really that just came to me. It's really setting a standard for how you want things to be, because 90% of what happens is what is in your control. The other 10% isn't, and we don't realize that. Like, there is a domino effect of things, but if you're being intentional about what you're doing, because what you do affects other people,
it does.
That's how you break those chains.
It makes me think about too, just with us being mothers and parents, like when we're intentional with like you were saying in the last podcast, that your children, they don't do as they're told, they do as they
they see. Yeah.
And so just being intentional with how we do things affects our children as well. So I just want to have different habits and still healthy habits and good morals and stuff into my son. And so just being intentional with that myself, and also just being in the moment too with our kids.
Yes.
It just, I don't know, like when I'm in the moment with King, I enjoy it. I just enjoy it.
And your kids can tell when you're not focused. Like, I've seen parents, like, their child's right there and they're like, mom, like 100 times. And sometimes, like, I used to sit there and I'm like, I don't think they're here because they're so focused on their phone, or they're just not this. And that kid learns then that your phone is more important than me. And it's not the phone for everybody, but whatever it is, like taking that. So even now, like, I'm trying to share my time with a newborn who needs me on demand pretty much, and then a 5-year-old who's already feeling like getting left behind. So I make sure every night that, we pray every night too, but I do like 15 minutes of cuddling with her every night in her bed. And when I'm talking, I'm rubbing on her and just having that time together, and it means so much to her. And it doesn't take that much time to be like, everything doesn't have to be a dramatic, like, I'm changing my whole life today, I'm changing my whole day. But okay, I'm gonna have healthy snacks. I'm gonna send out a group chat to people and just tell them have a good day. You don't gotta talk to everybody every day, or it could just be anything that doesn't take that much time. Even doing yoga, like, I've been doing yoga. Awesome. I haven't been doing it as much as I want to,
but you still want to start.
It takes. She got 5-minute ones on there, 15 minutes. It doesn't take that long, and it feels so good for your mind, body, and your soul.
It does. And y'all, when I don't pay my body, like today, I ain't did it today. I'm gonna do it though. But she show like, well, keep looking at your butt up.
and I can't do everything, and it's okay. Like, you gotta accept yourself for where you are. And that's why it's so important to like at school they taught themselves focus on yourself, and I'm like starting to see now they needed to explain better what they were trying to say to us, because they just said stuff and I think they expected it to just register. But if you really just focus on you, I mean, that was just right there within itself.
I know right now in the school they call it what's in your circle of control, and so I'm always trying to redirect King back to what's in your circle of control. If it's not within your circle of control, King, then I mean you ain't have no control over it, boo. Like, I don't know.
That's what I've been trying to tell Nadia, because she's been having this. It's been I'm mad because she's been having behaviors and acting out. I said it's okay to be mad. Like, the feeling itself is okay, but what you're doing is not okay. And she said, well, they made me mad. I'm like, you can't control what somebody else do. You can't control what nobody else say. You can only control how you react to that. And that's pretty much the same thing. And she's young, she's gonna make mistakes, but like just constantly reinstilling that over and over in her, it's going to set in there. Because even though we maybe not have grasped things that our parents try to tell us, it's still stuck with us, even though we didn't realize it, because it was always there.
I was thinking that too. Yeah, they may not realize it, but at some point they will for sure. That's why we also just gotta keep. Well, I feel like you were saying earlier, just to repeat. We have to repeat.
Being consistent, which is the same thing as it's not the same. It goes into line with being intentional.
Because I feel like as long as you are consistent, then you will. What you're wanting.
It'll be honored. It will be like, that's just how the world works.
and your intent with being consistent, I feel like will fulfill what you're intentional about, and it will show with you being consistent. Because if you aren't, then clearly it's
just like when you're trying to lose weight. You know, you get discouraged at first because you don't see anything, but you know, and that's what a lot of us do. We work out for 2 minutes and looking on the scale and expecting things, and then not realizing like a lot of it is you lose inches before you lose pounds. So, but you realize 2-3 months from now, when that person stayed doing what they was doing, and they've lost all this and they're feeling good and feeling better, like you just have to look at the bigger picture and be consistent and not focus on today didn't go how I wanted it to.
But also, like we're talking about being intentional and being in the moment. How are you feeling in that moment? You know, you might have some pains and stuff, but like after, like majority of people I know, after they work out, they feel amazing. After they do any type of, you know, thing for themselves, they feel amazing. Even if that is reading a book, like I want to set time aside for reading a book, and when I do that, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm sitting here for 2 hours reading, didn't even realize it, you know. And I feel like there's always something positive out of when you sit in the moment and take in what it is, you know what I'm saying? I feel like you always find, I feel like I'm repeating myself. You always find. I feel like I said this a little bit ago, but in different words.
Maybe somebody needed to hear it again.
But yes, you just find appreciation and are just more grateful for what.
Yeah, I feel like with me, because like a lot of the time I'll sit in bed and I'm just like, get up, Lorèal, get up. But if I don't get up, then I'm not going to get up. And now I just spent a whole hour in bed. I'm not even asleep. And I'm like, I could have just done so much more. And now I'm all mad at myself. So now when I have that thought, I'm like, you got to get up. It's not an option. Just do it. So that's really all I got to do. It's just like, it's like that first couple of minutes.
Yes.
I don't feel like it, but you just do it anyways and really see, like, it's really not that hard. It's really not that bad. And I'm telling y'all this as I'm telling myself this.
Yeah, okay, these are all reminders for ourselves too. But I feel like, you know, this is all stuff that we are daily like working on and consistently working towards.
Especially a lot of us, like I feel like this is the generation of all the, you know, black sheep. Everybody want to be the black sheep now, and that never was supposed to be a popular thing. And a lot of us are talking about, you know, wanting to break generational curses. Like it's cool to say that, but what are we actually doing to do that?
Okay, what are we doing?
And if you want to call yourself the chosen one, because everybody's the chosen one now too. And hey, I don't know y'all life. I don't know if you're the chosen one or not, but if you are, then why are we trying to be like everyone else? Why are you not being that one that makes that change and that difference and doing what it needs to do to, you know? Yeah,
to change and to, especially when it comes to generational curses and norms and whatnot.
It is a lot of work. So if you're not even knowing, like mentally preparing yourself for all of that, then you're not really ready for what you say. And that's fine, because everybody is not ready. Some people are not. They're cool with going with the flow type of people, because that's how I've always been. Because I'm such a people pleaser, I never spoke up for what I wanted to do or how I felt, and it also trauma came into that for me, and PTSD of things, or feeling like when I did say stuff, people didn't react the way that I wanted them to receive. Because that's another reason why I've been so was so hesitant on starting the podcast. I feel like people have never accepted what I've had to say. Nobody wants to hear what I have to say, or people always wanted to argue with me, or it was just always a big issue when Lorèal spoke, even though I always would, you know, quiet myself for them. And now I feel like I have to stop trying to worry about other people and do what I felt I need to do and be intentional with what I've been wanting to do for 3-4 years now.
Yeah, I most definitely can agree with that. What was I going to say? And I feel like with that too, you are more self-aware when you like stop and be like just intentional with it. Just make the mindset of being intentional with your lifestyle. You just become more self-aware. You become more self-aware of the things that you need to work on.
Absolutely.
And where you do fall short.
And that's why it's important to be around people, like-minded people, because if you're with people who don't have a job, and everybody has different stories, I'm not saying, you know, aren't working, or they constantly going out every day and every week and drinking, if that's not what you want your life to look like, why are you spending all your time with these type of people? So surrounding yourself with people who also having plans and wanting to be intentional and having goals, like even if it's not about being intentional, like you have goals, you have to be consistent with something,
Yes.
or you're not going to ever get there. So being around other people, it also helps you to, because like even with you, I don't even think I told you, but like being around you and seeing how you are, it makes me like I need to be more consistent with what I'm doing. And you helped me doing that, you know, and you probably don't even realize that, because what you do, like I said, it's like a domino. It affects other people around you. So being mindful of who you're surrounding yourself with can play a part in that as well. Your environment is a huge factor in your life and the choices that you make. So
that most definitely is big as well. And I'm trying to remember what I was going to say. It's tying into what you were saying, but environment. And then just like you're saying, you want to surround yourself with those like-minded people, or even I've been like telling myself too, I want to surround myself with like-minded people, but also people that I can learn and grow with and from. And if someone isn't even self-aware of their own their ownness, it's just like what I hate to say it like this, but how is that relationship serving you, you know, or even how's this predicament, this situation, this environment serving you, you know? So being around people that's also gonna engage your mind and open your mind to make you think differently and hold you accountable as well, and having accountability.
And people need to be okay with that. If you're not ready for that, then you're not ready for the real world, or you're still okay with having fake friendships and fake connections in your life, because
go ahead.
I'm sorry, I interrupt you, but people, that's why it's important too about having people around you who don't like you, because if you know, when it's done out of love, it's receptive, it's more easier. You know, if it's just criticism, if it's just critical, that's not healthy, that's not helping you. But if it's done out of love, and I'm holding you accountable because I care about you, I know what you said that you wanted to do, and I'm holding you to that. And that's what we should do.
Exactly.
And in a lot of relationships, I've been in relationships because like I'm one of those people, if you tell me what you want to do, I'm going to hold you accountable. Now they're all mad at me. You trying to run.
She surely will.
But I need to do it for myself. I got all the answers, but I'm doing better. But you know, the person feeling like you're trying to run them, and you can't accept me for who I am, and you just trying to boss me around, or you're nagging them. But it's like, you told me that this is what you wanted to do, and I'm trying to support you in that. And then I just learned, like, you know, a lot of people are just talkers. That's okay, but I can't be this, because especially if that's something I'm struggling with, we're not going to ever grow together if we're just stagnant here.
Exactly.
And that's why they say it's important to, you know, because a lot of us, like, if you think about it, you should have like 5 people in your circle. I mean, some people have more than that, but 5. I don't see how people say, look, I got a couple good friends, like close people I know, like that's my people. But you shouldn't be the smartest one in the group. You shouldn't be the richest one in the group. You shouldn't be the most this and that, because if you are, how do you grow? It's better to be at the bottom, because you can learn so much from them. And if you are at the top of your group, which I'm not saying like there's levels, but you need to surround yourself with other people to help you continue to grow, just like a plant, you know, a potted plant. If that plant starts to it's going to start to die off when it's grew out of its environment. Just like a shark, put a shark in a fishbowl, it's never going to get any bigger than that because of its environment. So people always think it's a bad thing to move away or remove yourself from friends and this and that. But if you want to continue to hold yourself down for other people, then you're really and dismissing yourself and being disloyal to yourself. And how can you have more loyalty to someone else than yourself? But yeah, that's something I've struggled with, is being true to myself. Like, I've always been there for everybody else but myself. And so I'm making a new leaf in my life and new beginnings, which is interesting. I just had my baby boy, and it's definitely a lot of things have been new, even going from being a girl mom to having both a girl mom and a boy mom, and having to understand that they have different needs, and making sure that they get the best what they need. It's a lot, and there's so much to do. Like, you want to be intentional about. I want to be intentional about reading my Bible. I want to be intentional about my morning routine, my hygiene routine, my self-care, my hair, working out, eating good, being the best mom today, being the star employee. And it's like and that's my issue of why I've been so stagnant, is that when I start to do one thing different, I want to do everything different, and I've overwhelmed myself. Now I'm mad, now I'm frustrated, and having these unrealistic expectations on myself. So I think what I would say for everybody is just to start with one thing at a time. You know, focus on, okay, I want to, even let's say I want to read for 5 minutes a day, 5 pages a day, before you want to say you want to read all these books. And if you want to work out, okay, don't get the gym membership, just start something at home. They got all these, we got all these devices, they got all these people on here. You can do a 5-minute thing, a 10-minute thing. Like the other day, I've been taking walks in the neighborhood with my kids. Something, now I'm being healthy and I'm spending time with my family doing so. Start cooking more. Okay, well, choose one day of the week that you want to cook. You ain't gotta cook every single day, so just start with one step at a time. And if you need reminders, okay, we have a planner, but I need extra reminders, so set 5-10 alarms every day. We got these phones, utilize them to the best of your ability, you know. And I feel like that's a good way to be intentional. If you guys have feedback, you got anything to say before we close out?
And with that, no, I just to say, continue to give yourself grace, you know, and just to continue to give yourself grace, because it's one step at a time. You know, everything doesn't happen overnight, and we just need grace. I feel like that's what we said last time, but I feel like we don't give ourselves enough grace because of like the societal standards and norms that are going on. Everybody wants to like be here or there, and we're all on our own. We're all on our own journey.
Because we all have different purpose in life. We all are here for a different reason. Like just like the janitor has a purpose. We need the janitors. We need the garbage man. I mean, imagine if we didn't have people picking up our garbage every week. Everybody has their own purpose, and it's okay to be where you are. And you have to accept yourself before you can really accept anybody else. And that's why I really understand now. This might be a little off, but it's really not. When they used to say that you can't love anybody till you love yourself, I used to get so mad at that. But now I really understand that, meaning like I love, but to unconditionally love people and to accept, like you have to start with yourself. So start being intentional with yourself, and then, you know, it's going to fall off onto other people that's around you, because that's just how it works. So remember to be intentional about you, love you, be loyal to you, and be a light in this world. And you guys have a great week, and we will see you guys next time on Real Talk.